Testing. Okay. So I'm not going to do a lot of editing because I'm already doing a bunch of other things. We're doing one take, no fakes. So I'm going to do the best I can here. So we're doing a reply to Vida Pony's video. Since I'm not a beta male like Spock Tech, I'm going to show you a real simple move here. No. If that's all you needed to hear, thank you for your time and God bless. I've had some people ask me, is this true? I said no. And that was it. I haven't seen the video. I know if I did, I'd feel compelled to give a point-by-point response, but thankfully Sheldon gave me a summary of the video. There's a recording. If it's the one I think it is, it was a call with Jace, myself, Rocky, Solar Flare, and I think David. It was Sunday. It was one day after my breakup with Buttons. I had a side limbo chat room that was cinnamon roll free. That was about the same time the Buttons had dumped 80 pages of a private discussion. I just assumed that was all of it. I didn't look back through because I'd ended the relationship and I wasn't interested in spending however long that was going to take to explain that. My ex is 19. We started dating when she was 18. Well, FNGR. The call, it was made on the weekend. I have to be up at 4 a.m. to get to work for 12 hours. And to be fair to Jace, he didn't corner me into the call. I don't know if Pete's video on the topic had dropped or not. It's been a while. But I wasn't in a position to reply. And my first concern was explaining I hadn't done anything illegal. Get to Monday, make my response video to Pete, and move on. That response video is up on my main channel and should cover the bulk of your concerns. I don't know how much of Jace's call he showed. I could assume if he didn't use all of it, there's a link to the full call somewhere. And now it's time to apologize. If memory serves, he asked me why I had dated Quillstroke. Quill and I at the time of this call weren't super cool. We were starting to talk again ever so briefly, and Jace had asked, "You dated Quill." Now, the correct move would have been literally to do anything else other than try to impress Jace at this time. I was underslept, and there would have been no right answer for Jace. We can impeach old Jace for his behavior later. We'll get there. Just give me a moment. But if memory serves, I wasn't cool to Quillstroke, and I'm going to apologize now. She's a really nice person, and she made some mistakes in the past, and I felt like she addressed those mistakes. And that's why we're cool now. It really wasn't anyone else's business that why we broke up, but things have gone from private to public. I didn't have a shit ton of sleep, and here we are. If you want to hate me for anything I said about Quillstroke, it was a dick move, I'm sorry, and I'll understand if that's your fill of FNGR. Now, we're about to get personal. Roleplay. 2 of the characters I've asked my ex to RP with are 2 characters from the series Tenchi Muyo. Ryoko and Moshi. Here's some reference pictures. My ex Buttons isn't comfortable playing characters with massive breasts. You can make all the itty-bitty titty committee jokes you want. I was never dissatisfied with my girlfriend's chest, to put it quite bluntly. I felt that she had 2 handfuls. This isn't anyone else's business, but here we are. One of the characters that she felt comfortable playing, which I think in our months and months of playing, was Star versus the Forces of Evil. I believe we did it once, but I'll say it twice, just to be absolutely certain. I look at it like this. If your girlfriend asked to dress up as Sailor Moon and she was 18 or older, are you a pedo? It wasn't my first string draft pick. It wasn't my preferred draft pick. And don't tell me there are a lot of hot chicks in cosplay as characters that are younger than they should be. You can find plenty of adult women cosplaying as Misty from Pokemon. Again, not that anyone in Vida's chat that Vida's ever dated has done that. Just one of the countless numerous examples of things like that. As for anything I said about Buttons, I have made multiple calls with Buttons where she was in a hospital for attempting suicide. Oh, why did she attempt suicide? I wouldn't know, but here's a link to a BitChute video where Vida, and his friend that he affectionately calls Lawyer Guy, who was desperately trying to get Vida to stop telling Buttons to kill herself. I can't imagine why, and Vida lovingly responded back, "Don't worry, I'll get Jace to do it for me." You're probably thinking, okay, FNGR, that makes Vida look like a douche. Now, keep in mind, Vida is doing everything he can for 22 minutes in this BitChute call to attempt to legally argue why he can tell a girl to repeatedly kill herself. He has gone around citing his friend, who was a law student, as a legal source, saying that it was okay to do so based on what his law student friend said. Needless to say, the law student wasn't thrilled with this. But let's get back to Jace now. Some of you guys will see the Dusky Novel Confession over on BitChute. If not, I will admit it's 23 minutes of disorganized nonsense. At least in parts. It's not the most entertaining thing in the world, but it does have 1,700 views, and it does get what I feel is enough of a confession, especially since Dusky Novel left. But here's an edit. This is an omission from that video. I did Jace a solid he never asked me to do. I cut, I think, about 6 minutes out of the Dusky Novel call, where Jace entered the call, and I did my best in the call to PM Jace. Hey, this is important. We're talking to a pedophile.
Unless it's about my child or my mother, then I get offended.
Okay, so let's take a look at this DM together, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a lot of nuance I'm supposing to this question here. I'm assuming this first part here is from Secret Dreamer. I've heard that you have committed certain acts, a little vague there, with certain people. Is this true? One sec, I gotta sneeze. There, got. I thought it was gonna be one of those ones that, just linger there. I'm not going to yell or scream at you. I just need to know if that's true or not. I pinky promise that I won't yell or scream. Goddamn bronies. And this is presumably you here. Okay, I have a whom came in.
So that's me.
Oh, hi, Jace. Yeah, we're just you want to hang in for this one. So your response to Dreamer's remark here is, okay, I have AD effects in how I act sometimes. I'm not proud of what I did, and I have taken actions that I should have. I have gotten help. I hate lying. I need friend secrets. I'm not like that. I was under so much stress that my judgment got clouded. You know my secret. I feel horrible. And I like trash. I'm not making an excuse. I take full responsibility. That's why I'm getting help. So, Jace, could you have me really quick so I could throw this to you?
Yeah, wait, sorry, what? You want me to do what?
Add me as a friend so I could send you this note.
Can you not send it here in this group?
Oh, are you cool, my man, with me putting this in the chat?
No, I'd rather it be privately.
Well, there
Privately. All right. Well, what is it about? Because it might not even interest me. Like, give me a synopsis here.
I'd love to be able to tell you that in PM.
Oh, fuck's sake. All right. Cool.
Jesus Christ, Jace.
I'll put it simply. I've done some things that I ain't fucking proud of, and even I want to fucking kill myself.
Wait, but is this related to Buttons, or is this just...
No, Jace, for the love of God, pretty please add me. This will be worth your time.
Hold on. Wait, I'm fucking trying to remember how to add people. I don't have
I think you got me blocked, so I can't even send the request. So you go.
Oh, that could be
tools,
that could
options, and then you.
No, I know. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
You wouldn't be horribly offended if I said you were another along the lines of performance major, would you, sir?
What, sorry? Again?
He doesn't even know that much. Jesus, do you
know?
know?
I know performance major. We paid attention to it. Yeah.
Okay.
We fished him with Sheldon to come and fucking cry his heart out to us.
Okay. Yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah. I added you, by the way, so feel free.
Yeah. Send I am.
Well, I mean, originally, let me just quickly, because I'm not going to be here for long. I came in here to ask. I came in here to ask Quill a question because I saw.
No. Now is not the time about that. Pretty.
What do you mean?
This we're dealing. Let me just send you a thing.
No, you deal. I'll just ask a quick question. Well, you're up for answering a question real quick.
Yo.
Because you Skype me.
Could you please not muddy the way? Yeah. Am I not out of line, Jace, for getting you to try to focus here? I mean, if you
hold on.
No, if you don't,
I'll read. Let me just ask a question, then I'll read whatever you sent me. Right?
No, you don't.
So Quill, So Quill, Vida messaged me, right? So you Skyped me the Twitter thing between buttons and whatever, right? And you said doesn't come from me. I don't know why you said that because it's public Twitter, so who cares? But all right, so you Skyped me that, but then Vida comes to me a few days later because I don't reply because I already know everything pretty much. Vida comes to me and says, "Did Quill come to you about buttons driving her to suicide or some shit like that at some point?" Question mark. I'm going
no. I ended up my brain derped. That was it. Mea culpa. That's all I gotta say.
All right. So how did it derp? Is it just you thought you were going to me with that, but you just kind of.
Yeah. Jace, this isn't a personal insult, but this is kind of important. And if you don't want to be part of it, I'm sorry, Dick.
So there you have it. This was me begging Jace with every fiber of my being, pretty please focus. I actually thought, Jace helped Vida with the Toon Critic thing. Him joining the call might be a good thing. And this is him just assing off. And I'm trying to be cool with him. I'm begging with the motherfucker to focus on the pedophile that we had at hand. And he wants to use the situation to heckle Quillstroke and pursue whatever the hell he was doing with buttons. Because Lord knows it isn't about protecting the innocent, is it, Jace? It's you're going around and just trying to find ways to fuck with people. Now keep in mind, this isn't going to do any damage to Jace. He doesn't give a fuck about what you think. He's not interested in building a presence in Brony or building any credibility. My advice to anyone dealing with Jace, don't. I'm sure in the future I will be talking to Vida. We do stupid shit like this every couple of months. Vida has actually sent me a picture of himself wearing Toon Critic's hat IRL, and he said Effin' Jara is likely going to call me worse than Toon Critic. I am beyond fucking confused. No, I'm not showing the picture because most of the time I've shown Vida on these videos, I get flagged or I have to blur the screen. So I'll give context. I think it was 2016, since my first year at BC was 2015. Vida didn't come till 1 year later. 2016 is when he first showed up. We were hanging out in Manga Common's room, my room in BC, which is why I had Vida come drink with me. And this is also why Manga Common won't let me bunk with him anymore. In Vida's defense, he didn't do anything fucked up in the room. I think he drank in the bathroom at one point or laid down. I don't know. Not important. If Vida wants to say that didn't happen, then it didn't happen. Toon showed up. We did a shot of liquor called Blood Orange, and Vida did a couple of shots of Blood Orange and a couple more, and not important. Some other crap, and somehow, after an evening of drinking, Vida ended up wearing Toon Critic's hat. There was no big gotcha beyond, unfortunately, the guy whose hat he put on, 2 to 3 years later turned out to be a pedophile. Now, my theory is, just a theory, I told Sheldon this already. I think Vida is tired of people coming to him with serious issues. He said he doesn't want to handle serious content, at least this serious. He just wants to fuck with people. I think he wants to have to go 12 rounds with me and myself. Or just myself. Again, sorry for the one take recording. Now, I'd get angry at Vida, but let's be honest, it's Vida's video that made the explanation on why Buttons is nuts. Again, sorry for the one take here. It's Vida's video that made explaining Buttons is nuts, and it made it really easy. If it wasn't for Vida, the Toon Critic thing might have never broke. Okay. I think it eventually would have got out. It might have taken a month or two. I know Vida leaked... I know King Theo leaked the call. And yeah, I'd rather pimp Vida over that dipshit. Vida, after I broke up with my girlfriend, I was told that Vida told Buttons to go speak to Jerry Pete. Vida has insisted that the whole relationship was based entirely on sex. If I said this to Jace or anyone else, I was desperate for approval when everything was going sideways. I wasn't thinking right. I was tired. And if Vida wants to talk about this, by all means. And if he wants to bring backup, he could bring One-Winged Fusion. Someone he said has a lot of potential. I'm not condemning. I'm not interested in speaking to Jace. I'd do Sheldon if I had to, but I'd trust Fusion more. This could easily blow up in my face. I'm not exactly dealing in a place of strength. And yes, the call would be streamed. We'd be doing it live. Oh, and I think there was one more point. Buttons can be a handful. She can take a lot of care. And I say this half-jokingly, not in a sexual manner. Buttons was dating a lot of limbo. And allow me to explain. Your boyfriend has to handle all your emotional baggage. The entirety of limbo, some more than others, had to take on a lot of Buttons' baggage, and the relationship flourished when I could pawn Buttons off from time to time so I wouldn't go nuts. Again, nothing sexual, just people had to listen to her. Maybe that makes me the worst boyfriend in the world, but I never had to do all this with Quillstroke or Kichi. And Fallen Wish was able to mingle amongst her own people, so there you go. There was someone else that emotionally dependent of my exes, but the name escapes me right now. I'm pretty sure they're also in Vida's chat. I'm pretty sure I told Jace about them. I know Vida will be more than cool not to give that name, but I bet you're sweet, but you can bet your sweet ass Jace would be glad to tell you. Now, there's an exact line where I'm likely assuming Jace played where I said I wanted another person in the relationship to cover for Buttons. Again, I was really tired, trying to impress the wrong people, not thinking straight. You know, because 80 pages of my private message had been dumped. And I said some stupid shit. And I think that's it. I'm told that Thought Bubble Brittany's name got dragged into this, and I apologize. So, we had a talk. She seemed satisfied. I had a lot of talks this Saturday. No one's unfriended me that I talked to. I asked repeatedly, do you guys have any questions? And the only time I got angry was Chambers of My Heart, who's doing a video I think might be in defense of me and Kid Douglas. I'm a little concerned because Kid Douglas talked to just Buttons and not me, but I heard the amazing impression that she made, so I'm not super concerned. I'm not flying by the... I have been flying by the seat of my ass in all this. I have been going at breakneck speed, and maybe my way of coping with being single is just making content. I want to state something for the record. Dating Buttons wasn't the most horrible, miserable experience. Like, I'm not gonna say anything like Vita's friend Jerry Pete said about, oh, I was abused by my ex. No, I wasn't happy anymore and I left. I talked about this in my previous video. Buttons used to make me watch American Dad, anime, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I had it so hard. Bullshit. My working theory is I'm too much of an old fuck to keep up with Buttons. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. But if you don't believe me, here's Buttons' ex of 6 years.
Oh,
quick question though. You said you dated her for 6 years?
Nearly. It was 5 years, around like 5.5 years.
I see. How old are you, my dude?
I'm 20 years old.
Okay.
She's older than me by a month, I think.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Is there anything that you wanted me to do or anything, or?
Oh,
So I'm okay to record this, correct?
Sure, if you want.
I do. So, let's go back to the notes again. 1 second. Where the hell are you? Heath and Han. Reading this off again. I heard your recent breakup with Buttons that you remember from Vida's video on her that a guy contacted him saying that he was the ex-boyfriend. That was me. I can send you video proof somehow, or... Wait 1 second. You video proof somehow, or you can ask Vida if you want to confirm this info. Either way, I recently saw your video as well as Lily Pete's video about all this has happened. I want to say that I'm sorry for your stuff that she's done to you. I realize I wasn't involved in any way, but when I first heard about this back in 2017, I wanted to contact you and warn you that she was capable, but I never did, and I feel like maybe I could have done something. I also want to apologize because when I saw your video about the breakup, when you talked about how much you needed a break from her and her drama, I laughed. Not because I thought it was funny, but because that's just the absolute relief to know that I wasn't the only person who felt the same way, or knew that she was capable of. I was excited just to know that there were more than a few people who knew the type of person she really was. All that she said about her behavior, being unable to keep secrets and being a vengeful person, took me back to when I was still with her. I was with her 6 years of my life, and I think I'm more qualified than anyone else when I say that she will most likely never change. It's sad to remain in the state that she's currently in. When she said, if I would have just hung in... when you said, if I would have just hung in there a little longer, maybe everything would have been alright. Take it from me, who hung in there. It would have done you no good. I wanted to break up with her within a year of our relationship and stayed with hopes thinking that she would improve. But they only got worse. Do not type right now. Only got worse and worse until I nearly lost my mind. 1 second, I'm almost done with this. It was honestly such a relief just to know I wasn't crazy and I wasn't the villain. I know this probably sounds incredibly melodramatic and hammy, but I feel the need to say something, oddly enough. It was through her that I found your content. Anyways, I'll stop bothering you with this unfortunate business and let you get back to your life. Be proud that you were able to be so transparent, and be happy that you were able to make it out of that relationship. Above all, be careful. Hope you haven't been blasted with harassment, and you aren't alone on this. You are confirming that this was you, Heath and Han, correct?
Yes.
Her ex-boyfriend of 6 years, yes?
Yes.
Okay, that does it wonderfully. As long as I could publish this video, this will be my silver bullet.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Just I could have a second voice.
Gonna have to, like,
yeah, no. Quick question.
Have to, like,
Now, according to Vida's video, she had about 35, 36 moms. How many were you there for?
I was only there for... I was there for a few,
but you could confirm that she did go through a lot of foster moms.
Yeah, not 35, but let me see if I can remember. There was... I was there for about 4 or 5.
Okay, no, that's still decent. 6 years. So the 35 is probably an overstatement.
Yeah. And...
Well, that was hers, I think. I could swear.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else I could do for you? Is anybody fucking with you in the fandom I could possibly help out with?
No, not really. I've been pretty okay. I've, like, kept a low profile for a while.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good.
Alright, well, let's stop recording.
I kept just telling myself, eventually it's going to get better. It's going to eventually. But there would be points where it would be okay for about a month, but then some catastrophe would happen that, of course, I would never be there for or anything like that. And I would just hear about it from random people or from her, and then it would fall back to square one.
Now, to be fair, my man, I didn't really have that necessarily. I was able to be there for her, but I was only, again, mine wasn't 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I might have been a lot better at distracting her.
Yeah.
I had an army of people to help distract her. But like, hey, let's go talk about this. Oh, here's a new video game. Oh, here's a movie. Here's a cartoon. Oh, isn't that so much better than worrying about the drama? And that worked, I knew it was a Band-Aid, I knew that those were temporary fixes, but they did wonders for the time being. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you're going to run out of these. You're going to run out of these, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah, that was probably a very smart thing for you to do.
She caught me at the wrong time, and she wasn't giving me space.
Yeah.
I'm a shitty person on the weekend. I just am. One of my fans just found that out recently. And I'm like, don't push me on, Saturday, Sunday. If I'm like telling you, hey, look, not now.
Yeah.
I keep seeing Song Hearts OC picture, and I assume it's Pancake.
Well, I'm not.
Nope, there's Pancake.
Oh my god.
But so the past 6 years, she really hasn't changed at all. She's you think she improved being a better person?
No.
Wow.
No. Honestly, that relationship was the first relationship I had ever been in, and so I just thought that was what relationships were, and at first it was pretty good. We mostly just talked about movies and stuff, like these distractions that you mentioned, FNGR.
Oh yeah.
That was mainly just kind of what we did. We just talked about those kind of stuff, but then it just kind of started to get progressively worse and worse. I told my brother about.
I noticed that actually, just a skosh.
Yeah, when I told my brother about it, I described it as: have you ever heard the thing where if you try to boil a frog, you should boil him slow, because if you put him in a bowl of boiling water, he'll just jump out, but if you turn up the heat slowly, he'll stay in there. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that was basically what it was. Just slowly kind of turning up the heat over time, and that's kind of how it got so bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up actually.
What?
The boiling frog thing.
Now you're curious.
Okay, found it. According to contemporary biologists, the premise is false. A frog that is gradually heated will jump out.
I guess I'm wrong then.
Let's see. What else does it say?
Never mind, I'm a fraud.
Indeed, thermoregulation by changing location is a fundamentally necessary survival strategy for frogs. Oh, okay.
Now I'm worried if I should stop the recording again because we stopped talking. All right,
we stop. Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
I'm still surprised they haven't removed me from the friends list yet. What the fuck?
The minute I hit record again there, David ruined the flow, and there's literally nothing to talk about anymore.
You're welcome.
I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to get away
No, don't hit stop. I actually just had a question.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly because I only watched Vida's video on her once. But did she ever try to manipulate you or isolate you?
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, there was a significant amount of that. A lot of it was basically, like, especially during my first year of college last year, there was this constant, like, every time I would try to focus on something else, suddenly this catastrophe would happen, and I would be forced to kind of devote all my time to her. And it became this endless cycle of me like, okay, should I finish my homework and get good grades? Or should I pick up the phone and listen to their problems for the next 3 days? Right. And that's like when things got to their worst.
That sounds like it became an exhausting habit.
Yeah.
Did you get through your classes? Just curious if you were able to get through them with her.
Yeah, I was hoping you would.
My grades last year, admittedly, were some of the worst I had ever gotten in my school career. It was not good. But since then, like, I've gotten nothing like below a B. So,
that's good.
And I've been like doing awesome since then. But yeah, think that was, my grades were suffering beyond compare.
You see, I suck at college. So I mean, you know, me going to college was just a pretty poor choice when I was younger.
Right.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
I guess it's kind of a good, I guess for those with significant others, they probably breathe a sigh of relief that their significant other isn't like that.
Yeah, I do.
Same. Oh, same here.
Mine ended up like that.
I remember Solar Flare would say the same thing, but his not about what Bad Guy said though.
Yeah.
What were you
exactly sounds like it took you away from important
things.
No.
I want David to finish that thought. No. What were we saying about Solar there?
What I'm basically getting at is I'm sure Solar's glad that his current girlfriend isn't basically like what this guy was describing.
Okay.
Pretty much that she's not like Rory.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I'm not sure who Rory is.
Probably for the best.
Oh. It's for the best, trust me.
I'll take your word on that.
You're being really fucking biased right now, and you know what? I'm done with your bullshit, so fuck you, go to hell, eat a dick.